Welcome to Big Boy Crypto, home of the BitSquad, the largest and greatest crypto community in all the interwebs. My name is TJ, and I'll be your host for today's episode of Around the Blockchain. Every weekday, Monday through Friday at 5 p.m., we come to you live. We got a really good show lined up for you guys today. Going to be talking about a really fun subject that a lot of people are asking right now is the traditional Bitcoin cycle coming to an end? Are we going to see the traditional major bull market into a huge bear market every 4 years based on the halving cycle? Is the stock to flow model broken? We're going to be talking about that today. Looking some more at Solana hitting its all-time high over $100 today. There's this big ignition event that everybody's talking about on Twitter. What's that all about? Is it just hype, or is it legitimately going to be a token burning event? As well as Jack Dorsey launching a decentralized exchange. Will that be incorporated with Twitter? And kind of what are the plans for that as we roll out? As always, we've got some really good guests. CryptoWendyO, a huge fan of Solana, somebody who's been tweeting about that for a long time. Hopefully you guys have listened to her, some of her advice. If you have, you're very happy today. We've got Mega Crypto with one of the most active communities in the chat of all of crypto YouTube, as well as Cripto Avances. I hope I said that right, from the channel in Spanish or Espanol. And then fresh off the rested weekend with the wife at the Braves game and a personal record on the bench today, feeling strong. Ben Armstrong coming in with the heat. So it's going to be a good show. We're going to be talking about it. But before we jump into that, let's do a quick market watch. We've had some really good altcoins pumping over the last 24 hours. Cello with a 70% pump. Phantom 61%, Harmony 30%, Solana, which we're going to talk about more, over $110 today. So that was pumped over $10 just since the morning live stream. E-Gold, Compound, all kinds of major pumps today. So the alts popping off while Bitcoin trades sideways. We still have Bitcoin holding at about 48,000, Ethereum 3,300, Cardano 282. So we've got the majors kind of trading sideways, and then a lot of the alts popping off. So we're gonna jump right into the first topic of the bear market and bull market. We've got Willy Woo saying that the typical 4-year cycles are going to be coming to an end here. I know, Ben, you've talked a little bit about maybe this is the last cycle that stock to flow model is going to hold up. So we'll start with you on this question. Do you think the 4-year cycle of Bitcoin will change? And that's traditionally based on, the halving cycle. We're trading at 6.25 right now every block, or approximately every 10 minutes. That's going to halve again to 3.125. So when that happens, are we going to see the typical stuff, or do you think that cycle will change?
Jay Chains is calling me right now.
Of course he is.
He's calling me. Oh, he just hung up. I think he just realized we're on the show. Justin, we do a show every day at 5 o'clock.
I forgot. I even said before the show started, let me make sure I don't forget this, but as always, I forgot. If you're new to the show, bottom right-hand corner, you'll see a score box for all the guests. If you like what you've heard from any of the guests, drop a +1 in the chat. I'll know to give them a point. If you don't like it, put a -1, and I'll take one away. Whoever has the most points at the end of the show will have 30 seconds to leave a parting message with the audience. So, Ben, take it away.
So, listen, the question is, will the 4-year cycles be different? An extension of that question is the stock to flow model broken? And I'm going to say the answer to the first question is no. The 4-year cycles will not be any different. They will continue on. The numbers will be different. The percentage gains will be different. But the fundamentals that drive the Bitcoin halving will still be the same. Every 4 years, we will have a supply shock as for this next cycle. The Bitcoin rewards, for the block rewards, they go down from 6.25 to 3.125 or 3.125. That's right. So we're going to see those block rewards continue to go down, which means Bitcoin's production will continue to slow. We'll still have supply shock for the miners, and price will still go up. But I do believe that after this cycle, the stock to flow model will be broken. It shows Bitcoin hitting $1 million in 2025. We are not hitting $1 million in 2025. And some people could say this is manipulation, it's coerced. This is not just Bitcoin naturally falling off the stock to flow. In the past, we've shot way above the stock to flow chart in bull runs. I think in this one, we are going to tap it as resistance and come back down, and that might be something we see for the next 4 years, but there's no way Bitcoin's going to $1 million in 2024. So I believe 2028, we could talk about that, could possibly be 2032, but ultimately we'll go to $1 million, in the next 10 years. It just depends on, how fast it's going to get there, but that's what I think is going to happen.
Yeah, and to be clear, when that halving happens, it'll be sometime in 2024. Like we said, it's a block approximation, so it's not exact date. But around 2024, we'll be having that 3.125, dropping from 6.25 to 3.125.
Let's see what it is right now. Let's see what it, I think somebody said January is the estimation, but I think that's only because no, it says May 10th, so May of 2024. I think probably what we'll see is that'll probably be in March, because the last one was in May. It usually averages about 3 years, 10 months. So probably March 2024. Coming faster than you think, though.
Yeah, it does. And that's kind of why I'm going to come to Mega Crypto with this one. You got all the charts up there. And, getting away from the stock to flow that Ben was mentioning, where with those big predictions of those $1 million Bitcoins very soon, like just looking at the market as a cycle, like when we're referring to this 4-year cycle, that's alluding to it has a massive run up 1 year followed by a huge correction in the bear market, and then we do it all over again when that supply shock comes in. Now, Willy Woo, his direct quote is that he's saying that the 4-year cycle is over, and from here on out, this thing does a drunk walk of ups and downs, trending upwards as it finds its adoption for indefinite amounts of time. The 4-year cycles are gone. So we hear a lot of talk about a super cycle, that we're hitting so much adoption now that we're not going to see basically every pattern that we've seen for Bitcoin's entire existence. So do you think that's the case? Do you agree with Willy Woo, or do you think we're still going to see a massive 85% correction and then just do this all over again?
I think I totally agree with Willy Woo, and I think it's partly because the money printing and all the monetary policies that we saw. And by the way, I think Ben touched a great point. Like stock to flow model does not necessarily get into account the fact that we printed like 40% of the supply of the US dollars in like a single year. And that's a lot of money that we talk about. So that's like we have this rocket ship that's going to the Mars, and we just like literally put more gas on top of the jet that we have. So it's just going to be going even faster. That's the way that I imagine it. And I think we're just getting started, and it's just going to be, a bumpy road. But at the same time, not necessarily mean that we're going to have to go down 85% unless there's like a black swan event that comes in just like last March.
Okay, so you're holding out that there could be potentially a black swan event that kicks us back into a major correction, but you don't foresee that happening necessarily. That's just kind of the caveat.
Yeah, totally. I don't see that foreseeing coming in, but data can change at any moment. So, but for the time being, I don't see anything that's going on like that. So. Okay,
and then Wendy, I'll come to you with this one. I know you do a lot of charting. I know you've been watching the Bitcoin price for a very long time. Your top end prediction, I think, for this cycle is a little bit lower than ours. Do you see us pulling all the way back, or do you kind of subscribe to this thing that Willy Woo's referencing, that we're just going to he's saying basically it's going to be more like the S&P 500 now, where it's just going to slowly stair step up. We'll have a correction, and then it'll keep going up, but it'll generally be up and to the right for the rest of time. How do you feel about that?
This is actually a very interesting topic, because I was talking with Crypto Weatherman over the weekend, and we're both on the same page that Bitcoin is actually starting to become that store of value. And even though the market is kind of choppy, we're seeing the crab action, the sideways action, we're seeing it hold value immensely well. Like we have been consolidating above $45,000 since the beginning of August, like August 9th. And even when we were above, like the beginning of March, that's when we were above 55,000, and we stayed above $55,000 and kind of consolidated at that, like approximately above that area till like May 12th. So Bitcoin's volatile swings are becoming a lot less and less, and it's actually really kind of becoming a store of value, which is amazing. And I could kind of get behind what Willy Woo is saying, that it's going to continue to climb upward with that little volatility, those price swings, but we're really not going to know until the halvening comes, and we're not going to know until we get into that actual bear market. And this cycle is a lot different, because back in 2017, you were able to, the only way you could make money in crypto back in 2017 is you had to learn how to trade, or you had to be a very savvy investor. Now we have NFTs, we have DeFi, we have staking, we have multiple different crypto apps that you can go ahead and trade and invest from. So it's become a lot easier to make money in crypto.
Yeah, and I have another question there for all of the guests. Is it, so obviously, Wendy, you say halvening, I said halving. Ben, is it halving or halvening in your opinion? Uh-oh, you're muted.
I used to like to say halvening. I made it a point to say halvening because I felt like the nerd said halving, but I've become a little more of a nerd recently.
Oh, really?
I think the word, no. I think the word halvening is a better word because it differentiates itself between like, hey, I'm having dinner right now. You know, that is having without an L, but it sounds the same. So when you're talking to new people, they get confused on that. So I feel like if you say halvening, they're like, oh, halvening, what is that? You explain, well, that's when Bitcoin halves. And I think they can remember it easier. But I've just kind of like given up because I got so much criticism for saying it that way that I do say halving now because it's just a standard. But I feel like it should be the other one, honestly.
Okay, well, I want to hear from the chat, too. If you could drop that in the chat. If you're hashtag having or hashtag halvening, I'd like to see who wins that battle. But Cripto Avances, I'm going to come to you with this one. I know most of the other guests on here. I don't know much about your stance on kind of the cycles and I'm going to ask you, what is your top-end prediction for this cycle? And do you see we're going to have an extended bear market like we've experienced in the past with a potentially 80 to 90% correction? Or do you believe we'll have a smaller correction and maybe the cycle will be broken?
I think the cycle will not be broken, and I think the bull market top will be around 250, 60, 70, 80 maybe. And if you take in account that we had the bull market top in 2017 from 20,000, from 2013 in 1,000, okay, then it was a 20x. Okay, if we now reach the 200,000, so it's a 10x. Okay, so it's the half more or less. Let's say we keep going like this, so we have next time in 5x. Okay, we reach this time 200,000 and 5x would be 1 million. Okay, you have to take into account that this 1 million is not worth this million what we have today, because we have to take into account the money printing, the inflation, and all this. But I think that the super cycle will, and also the stock to flow model will be accepted by the Bitcoin price. And I think that we will have a bear market because there is one thing that will never change, and it's the human psychology. And you know that most of the people see Bitcoin still as a high volatile, high risky asset. And in the first moment they see something, some insecurity, whatever, they go all out of this market. They will sell. First thing they sell will be Bitcoin. And that's why I think we will have also a large bear market. My prediction for the bear market low is around 55,000.
Okay, yeah, I really like what you said there. That's a great point. That the one thing that all markets have in common is human psychology, and that never changes over time. Like you said, when fear strikes a market, you see things change really fast, and that's something we've seen in the past with Bitcoin, and we could potentially see again, especially after a massive run up. So I hope you're right. I hope we do get up in that 200K range. That would be nice. So. Speaking of something else that's on another crazy run, and it just seems like it just can't stop pumping, we've got Solana hitting over $100. I think we looked up at the top of the show. At this point, it's now at 112, up 20% on the day, 50% for the week. So absolutely crushing it across the board. Wendy, I'm going to come to you with this one. I know you're a big Solana fan. I'm sure you're aware of the tweet that went out over the weekend. We've got so the actual Solana verified account saying T-3, 2, 1, and then you go to their website and it's got this, the sky's the limit. What will you choose to launch August 31st through October 8th. So what is your expectation for what this event is? A lot of people speculating that it's a token burning event. Just by the fact alone that it's got a date range that long, I don't think they're going to be burning over several different days, but they could be. I mean, it wouldn't be the first time. So what do you think from a marketing perspective, and what do you think this event actually is from your opinion?
It does actually look like a burning event, and maybe they're going to take the route that Binance did, because Binance was very, very, very smart when I believe they do quarterly burns, right?
Yes, they do quarterly burns based on their profits. So whatever their profit is for that quarter, they burn at the end of each quarter.
I feel like they're going to do something similar. I don't know exactly how they would do that based off profits, though, because I don't believe they have an exchange. I feel like they kind of help few. They're kind of like an Ethereum there. But I do kind of see that happening, because every aspect of every DeFi project is a deflationary mechanism where they're burning tokens or they're doing this, that, or whatever. So I think that would actually be interesting and positive from a marketing perspective, especially if, you know, we're talking about DeFi and whatnot. But it could mean something totally different. It could be something that's not even related to burning. It might have something to do with other things that they're building on top of the ecosystem. But it does actually sound like that it is going to be burning. We'll have to see.
I mean, they're definitely positioning that way with, you know, the ignition and with a lighter and a spark. They're acting as if it's definitely going to be a burning event. That seems to be the general consensus. Ben, what is your opinion? Do you feel like the consensus is right, or do you feel like this is just some hype that might be a nothing burger in the end?
Yeah, I mean, I think this is purely speculation driven. We don't know what this is. I can ask and find out if I can get some inside info before it launches tomorrow. But I think this is what people want, right? If it is in fact burning, we are about to see Solana rip. I can't really explain how hard it'll rip. If they announce burning late next year, then that would be different. But as long as they're actually gonna like do some burning and it's quarterly and it starts soon, or year, whatever it is, it starts soon, price is gonna absolutely rip. But I'm not convinced that what it is. I would say it's probably about a 25% chance. I think it's much more likely it's something different, and that this is, you know, purely hopium. I mean, we've seen stuff like this before. I mean, I always like to go back to TJ. Let me ask you this.
Okay.
What was the greatest announcement that we ever saw? Like the hype about the announcement was the biggest thing ever.
In all of crypto?
In the history of crypto.
Where was the most hyped?
For an announcement.
Well, the
We talked about this for weeks.
The Warren Buffett lunch that Tron did was pretty hyped up and turned into be nothing. Is that what you're referring to?
No. Believe it or not, this is an announcement that does not involve Justin Sun. What do you think it is, Wendy?
Is it something with XRP? I don't know.
No. It was the Verge announcement. It was Verge. It was Verge, XVG. When Verge went in 2018, where it was, this is the biggest partnership in the history of crypto. You guys are not going to believe what this is. One of the biggest companies on the internet. And it was Pornhub accepting Verge. And then 2 weeks later.
Cornhub, sir. Cornhub.
Cornhub, excuse me. Cornhub. Sorry. Cornhub, we are not on TikTok. Okay, we're on the YouTubes. The people can take the hard P here. Okay, the hard P.
Oh boy.
Oh boy. I heard a peanut gallery laugh. That must have been pretty funny. But that was it. Pornhub made a video about it. I just remember there was an old guy there, and he was like, "When I was a kid, like we accepted Skrilla, before we had this Verge." Mm-hmm. And it was such a nothing burger. And everybody thought it was every company under the sun. This is a partnership with Google. It's a partnership with Apple. It's a partnership with Netflix. Everything. And that was Pornhub. And then they negated it a couple weeks later by saying like, oh, we're also going to take Tron and we're going to take EOS. We'll take any kind of, any crypto you give us for our corn, you can have. So just the idea that we know for sure what this is definitely a burn. Like I think it is is a high dose of hopium from the Solana community.
Well, yeah, and another thing that was unique about around that time that happened is there was all sorts of hyped announcements that were turning into nothing. Like that was at the same time Justin Sun was making all sorts of announcements. And in a lot of ways, it was a top signal. Like it was the top of the 2017 market where the hype was at its absolute peak and they were doing anything to make this announcement and then it would just send a coin through the moon. And that's where a lot of the buy the rumor, sell the news stuff started to come into play. So Mega Crypto, I want to come to you with this one. Do you think this is a buy the rumor, sell the news kind of scenario? Or do you think once this happens, it will be something worthwhile and will continue to pump?
Yeah, it will probably consolidate and continue to pump. And I think they're doing this like strategically. Like if you think about it, Cardano is about to launch their smart contract platform, and who is competing against Solana? I mean, it's Cardano. We have other chains, but Cardano is doing all these different things. So if you think about Solana, they are doing this like strategically, and I think they saw all the hype on Ethereum's burn, deflationary mechanism with the EIP upgrade that we saw. And, actually Ethereum was like really pricing that in after the fact. And everybody was starting talking about like, oh my God, we are burning so many Ethereum right now that, this will skyrocket. So I think they're going to do something similar to that. And that will be really smart if they did, honestly. And they will just like skyrocket the prices and it will be a lot more competitive. And I think they are doing this for the long run. And if you compare the market caps of, Cardano and Solana, it was a clear bet, and right now it's at like 2.8 x. It needs to do like 2.x to reach to Cardano. So they wanted to, I think, do like $100 per Solana. So they reached that goal. I think the next target from this point forward will be like slowly but gradually hit that $1,000 mark if the bull market, continues. But in the long run, I think this hype that they are creating is going to really affect the prices for the upside.
Yeah, so what you're saying is you think they're trying to get their market cap up there next to Cardano, so it's like, Cardano number 3, Solana number 4, in your opinion. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
that
totally.
makes sense. So Cripto Avances, I want to kind of hit you with a curveball on this one. A lot of people here thinking it could be a token burning event. I believe they do burn some a little bit of Solana with every transaction, so maybe they could be upping that amount with each transaction. But another possible angle here that's part of the pushing the price up, that we know they launched the not the Bored Apes, but I think it was something with the Apes Academy over the weekend. So another
They generated.
The DGen apes. Or
DGen apes. Yeah. So the next angle that some people are considering is, what if they're launching another NFT marketplace? Do you think that's something that could be worth mentioning?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's a very good marketing strategy that they use, because if they want to burn token, they don't have to just do the teaser. They can just say, "Oh, we burn token." But
good point.
Anyway, all this token burn things, just imagine I tomorrow I create a token, and I create 1 billion token. Okay, this token is worthless, and then I say, okay, I will burn 750 million tokens. I burn 75% of the token supply. So does that mean that the other 250 million have any value? No, nothing. So people are very focused, oh, that's deflationary. But what does it mean? It just means that they burn some tokens that they maybe before already calculated producing on top, So I'm not really thinking that this is a real big strategy. And Ethereum, okay, because this is a token that's really, really, really already with a proof of concept with a high worth, But I don't think that for a token as Solana, it's a very good project, but they don't have already this status. I think that you say, okay, a token burn is such a big thing. On the other hand, it can be also something about NFTs, about dApps, dApp development. This would something very interesting. Why? Because it's hyped. It's hyped. Now, everybody want to go into NFTs. There are some kids, they make $100,000 NFTs, playing games or whatever. Even me, I opened some scholarships, you call it, for Axie Infinity. So I think that this is very interesting, and I think that could be have a big result as a marketing strategy.
Yeah, you made a lot of really good points there. NFTs are definitely peaking right now. They're at a hype. It seems like everybody is talking about NFT projects, wanting to create NFT projects, and using that to gather a lot of attention for their latest platform. And like you said, there's a much greater demand on ETH than there is on the Sol token. So like with Ethereum burns, that's going to have a much greater price impact immediately felt on the network than something like Solana when there's a lot of supply. So Wendy, I'm going to ask you this one. This is one of the most common questions we get from the chat, especially for newer investors here. They hear everybody talking about Solana. They hear about all the great tech, all the things that are being developed on it, FTX, a lot of the big money behind Solana here, but it just keeps pumping and pumping and pumping. So if you don't have any exposure to Solana yet, you didn't get in early, you see it pumping, you want to get involved. Now we've got this big event going on, it's pumping. So if there is some type of pullback here at some point, how do you determine how to make a good entry on a project like this that you like? Everybody knows the tech is good, but it just keeps pumping like crazy, and you don't want to buy a top. Everybody's scared to buy the top, and they feel like as soon as I buy, it's just gonna dip. So how do you kind of approach that from a strategic investor standpoint?
You have a trading or investing stack with disposable income. And this is for people who are not traders, who are not able to identify support and resistance areas. And if you can't, that's okay. You can learn. But right now, if you're feeling that FOMO, you feel like this thing is going to continue to pump like crazy, what I would recommend, your trading or investing stack, that is disposable income. That means if you lose it tomorrow, it's okay. Or if you make a lot of money, that's fine. It doesn't impact your personal stuff. What you want to do, or a tactic that I do, I 10% market buy to quench that FOMO. I take 10% of my capital that I'm willing to lose, and I just market buy so I have a little bit of the particular project. Then what I will do is I will set limit buys down at various support and resistance areas. Limit buys are amazing because you get to dictate what the market, or dictate what price you want to purchase. You're not just market buying, because when you market buy, you're just buying what the market's giving you. You want to run the market. So that's the best way to do it. And if your orders get hit, great. You could, because you're practicing risk management. If they don't, that's fine too, because you went ahead and you played it safe and you 10% market bought and you quenched that FOMO.
Perfect. I'm sure a lot of people can really use that advice. So, and as always, guys, I forgot to mention at the top of the show, if you haven't heard of any of these channels before, the link is in the description below. Be sure to go check them out. They've got all sorts of great advice like what Wendy just shared with you. So go give them a follow, smash the likes, give them a subscribe. And if you're enjoying this content right now, please smash the likes, because that helps us grow and it helps the YouTube algorithm get this information out to more people. So let's talk a little bit about this Bitcoin DEX.
Hold on. I want to say one thing before we move on from Solana. I just want to interject one thing.
Yeah.
If you guys today watched my interview with Raoul Pal, that was part one. It's a part two. We have part two coming tomorrow. If you are bullish on Solana, you are definitely going to want to tune in tomorrow, because he is extremely bullish on Solana, more so than even Cardano. So definitely something to check out tomorrow if you're interested in Solana. If you want to know, he thinks it could be the chosen coin of this cycle, and it may not slow down. So I know I was just looking, TJ, at our portfolio, and did you know that now Solana is our number 5 overall holding, less than 100, or just a little bit over 100K less than Polkadot. Could be, moving up to our number 4 overall coin. Crazy.
Yeah. I saw that. I actually looked at that this morning, and I was shocked by that too, because I was like, oh, I wonder where it is, because it used to be like 15 or something like that. So it was a huge jump up. And I did that I didn't know when you were posting that Raoul Pal interview, because he said a lot of very bullish things on Solana as well. So I wasn't sure when that was coming out. So great interview. Make sure you guys tune in for that. I actually thought it was really interesting hearing what he had to say, because you hear him talk about Bitcoin and Ethereum a lot. It was really interesting to hear his exposure beyond Bitcoin and Ethereum. So great guy, great interview. So let's move on and talk about the Bitcoin DEX. I know we got some practice later on that we got to get out of here on time for. So Jack Dorsey, big Bitcoin proponent for a long time. He's come out over the weekend and talking about this Bitcoin DEX that he's going to be developing, and they've said straight up that it's going to be, he's the CEO of Square and Twitter, obviously. They're going to be incorporating it within those companies, is what they're alluding to, and they're saying the business will be Bitcoin from top to bottom, a decentralized exchange, no other chains, no Ethereum, no other DeFi projects. So do you think, Ben, this DEX, if with the full backing of Square, Twitter, Jack Dorsey, and these people that are very familiar with online payments, do you think it has a chance to compete with Ethereum on a digital payments platform?
No, that's asinine. Asinine, asin 10, asin 11. That's what that is, to borrow words from the famous Stephen A. Smith. One of the only guys who may like to talk more than me. So, yeah, I definitely do not believe that this is going to be anything serious. I mean, look, the Bitcoin... The reason why a DEX works so well for Ethereum and for other projects is because they're like decentralized by nature, and people want to be diversifying. They want to be getting other coins. It's a quick way for them to come do it. Bitcoin has got a lot of problems. It's super slow. Imagine all the transactions on Bitcoin if all of a sudden people are, all of a sudden trading all this stuff on a DEX. And then what do they want to do? They want to build something so that people will come in and trade their Bitcoin for Ethereum? Is that what the maxis want? So who's going to use this? Like, that's my question. Who is actually going to use this? I think that's going to be a big problem, is them trying to figure out the demographic for this. I think Jack Dorsey, he loves Bitcoin because it's made him so much money, but he can't see the truth in front of his face, which is that Bitcoin is not the, primary, tool that's going to be used for decentralization in the future. It's going to be Ethereum primarily, and then Cardano, Solana, some of these other projects behind it. So I don't think there's any reason to be excited about this. I mean, look, let's think, who is the person who buys Bitcoin on Cash App? What kind of person is this?
Retail,
do you
new people investing in crypto for the first time.
Yes. Do you think those are the people that are going to run and use a DEX?
Well, let me ask you this, and I'm going to throw this to Crypto Avances as well, because kind of what they're alluding to here, they're saying it's going to be fully regulatory compliant and it's also going to be full KYC. So I think maybe the angle in here is you can use it without even realize you're using a DEX. You've bought some Bitcoin and you're doing some transactions through the Square. Maybe you log in with Square. That's where you've KYC'd. And now the DEX is working in the background to help you swap and do different things, interact with different projects. And you don't even realize you're actually using a decentralized exchange. So Crypto Avances, what do you think about that angle? Do you think that's maybe what they're trying to do is to make it better user experience for people that are using Square? Because right now all you can really do is kind of buy Bitcoin on there, hold it, maybe transfer it to your own wallet. So do you think that's the approach they're going to be trying to take here?
Yes, but if it's like this, then what's the point? What's the point to build this DEX? You know,
Yep.
all this we can do right now. So it should be compliant in KYC. So that's exactly the contrary to what Bitcoin was made for.
I agree.
Okay, Bitcoin is a payment system that should allow anybody, any person in the world to have access to the financial system. Okay, now you must be compliant. Okay, you must. There are people in Africa, they don't have an identification. Yeah, and in Latin America as well. So then, what's the point if you must be compliant to do the DEX? First of all, second of all, there are already wallets that you can connect with a centralized exchange, and you have your coins in your wallet, and you change them so nobody can block or steal your coins. So that's very, very nearly to this. Okay, I think this Jack Dorsey and he did it. We talk about him, so it's marketing what he wants to do. I see absolutely no value in this. First of all, second of all, when we talk about Bitcoin as a payment, okay, we say we compare Bitcoin as a store of value with gold. So is there anybody in the world who takes a coin of gold to buy a coffee or go to the supermarket? Nobody ever does this because Bitcoin is a store of value. Gold is a store of value. So we will have payment coins. So I think there is absolutely no reason to try to do an DEX, and it should be compliant, KYC and so on. So what's the point?
Yeah.
That's my opinion.
Yeah, I know. I tend to agree with that as well. Mega Crypto, do you fall on that same line, or do you think there could be a place in the world for a decentralized exchange that has KYC?
I think that's going to be the future. Is there a point? It's arguable because we are still early. But I think like if people really care about decentralization, I mean, is it really that decentralized? That's the question. Is it really going to be that decentralized? I don't know. But the point of the matter is if you can basically make a KYC kind of decentralized as well somehow, I don't know. But that would be, that will be the future. I mean, we already do that, right, in various different exchanges. So, I mean, what they're trying to do is like capture as many eyeballs as possible by building this. It's a strategic move by him. So, I don't know. Maybe there's not a point right now to do, but at the same time, it's good for their company to basically grow more eyeballs to get them to use their platform. So that's my 2 cents.
Yeah, no, I agree. It does seem like it's good for their business model. It's good for their bottom line, but it doesn't really seem to be in line with the ideals of Bitcoin and decentralization, as Crypto Avances alluded to. So, Wendy, I'm going to ask you this one, and we're going to start wrapping it up here pretty soon. But do you think Jack Dorsey here is kind of I don't want to go as far as saying a wolf in sheep's clothing, but is he using so you will. Okay, 100%. So is he using the Bitcoin ideals to further his own agenda, in your opinion?
Yeah, he doesn't care about people. He doesn't care about privacy. He doesn't care about decentralization. He doesn't care about anything other than getting rich. If he cared about this type of stuff, the man has a lot of money. He has a lot of influence, a lot of power. He can simply go to a lot of these people and say, this is what we need to do. He can advocate, but he's not doing it. And Bitcoin maximalists will sit there and they will applaud this man. I don't understand how you can be such a maximalist and how you can have read Satoshi's white paper and you could have and you could like live through 2008, see how terrible it was, and then just say you're for the people when you're not, because we all know that he's not. His platform is run terribly. I use it. I appreciate it. I mean, Twitter's helped me, network and be part of the reasons where I am today. But at the same time, how could you say that you're for the people? How could you say you're for decentralization? How could you say you care about censorship when you're there censoring people? Like, it's absolutely ridiculous. He is 100% a wolf in sheep's clothing. I don't think he cares about people. I think he cares about profit. At the end of the day, it is important to, obviously, everybody deserves to make a living. But at the same time, if you have that much power, money, capital, and you're not utilizing your platform to spread awareness or to, kind of help the underdog, what are you doing? What is your purpose? Because to me, you don't have a purpose if you're not doing that.
Yeah, wow, that was amazing. Mic drop moment right there from Wendy. That was a great way to wrap this conversation up. And I think you hear that sentiment echoed on this channel a lot. We tend to agree with that. It really feels like he is using the Bitcoin message as his own way of marketing and furthering his agenda, furthering his bottom line in a lot of different ways, and really doesn't seem, his actions don't align with his words. And that's what we say all the time on this channel. Watch what they do, don't listen to what they say. So that's all we have time for today, guys. We really hope you enjoyed this discussion. If you did, please be sure to smash that like and maybe share this with one of your friends. As always, we'll be back 5 p.m. Eastern time tomorrow with more guests. It looks like Wendy is our top scorer today with that mic drop moment there at the end. You got a lot of points, got the crowd all riled up. They're loving it. So you got 30 seconds to leave a parting message with the audience. Take it away.
First and foremost, Solana to the moon. Just kidding. That's not financial advice. You guys pay attention to the different projects at Solana, or that are Solana ecosystem projects. Please make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel and also to support Ben and TJ and the rest of the gang. I'm getting real close to 100,000 subscribers here. Make sure to sign up for Wendy's white paper. Cripto Avances, Mega Crypto. It's a pleasure hanging out with you guys. Thank you, TJ. Thank you, Ben. Shout out to the BitSquad. +10. I like turtles.
All right, that was a great ender. And yeah, guys, come on. We can definitely push her over 100,000 today. So if everybody that's in this chat right now goes over there and subscribes, she'll have 100,000, no problem. She deserves it. Let's get that play button. That's all we have time for today. We're out.